Hi, hello. I'm feeling particularly judgmental today, so we're ranking all the houses in the Sims Deluxe Edition. The Deluxe Edition includes the Sims base game and the Sims Living Large, meaning we're having a look at Neighborhood 1 and 2. In total, there are 9 houses that we're ranking today. Starting off with number 9, we are looking at 6 Sim Lane in Neighborhood 1. This is the original starter house for the Sims and comes slightly pre-decorated. It's kind of small, bland, and a little bit boring. It's the perfect place for Michael Bachelor to start his journey, and in truth, he is also kind of small, bland, and boring. Some of you might be looking at this house though and thinking, this is not exactly how I remember this house, and you could be correct. There's actually small differences between the North American and European style of this house and massive differences with the style in Asia. It has an open plan kitchen and living room, bathroom and 1 bedroom with an outside patio area where you probably have to fit your dining room table because there's no space inside. It's a good jumping off point if you want to rush into gameplay right away, but it's already furnished and I'm not a huge fan of the furniture that's in here, so this one takes last place. Next up is 1 Sim Lane in Neighborhood 2. This is actually the most expensive house in the Sims Deluxe Edition, mostly because of its furnishings, but it's not entirely my favorite. I'm sure others would rank this higher, and part of me wants to rank this higher because it's a Living Large game, and Living Large is my favorite thing in the world, but it's just not it for me. The downstairs is just all one massive area with a kitchen and dining nook to one side and the stairs to the other side. Outside there is some gardening. This is actually one of the houses with the most amount of gardening outside. Upstairs there's some sort of game leisure room, a separate bathroom to the left, and then 1 massive bedroom. I know there's probably a time and a place for this house, but the medieval stuff is just not my favorite stuff from The Sims Living Large. It's the 70s tacky wacky stuff. So that's why this house takes second to last place and not any higher. Number 7 is 3 Sim Lane in Neighborhood 1. This is another one of those houses that looks slightly different based on where you live. The house has a kitchen dining room downstairs as well as a living room and small bathroom, and the entire upper floor is one big room. Now this house is by no means bad, it's just a bit bland and boring, and one of the few redeeming qualities for me is that it has the wacky Sims 1 roofing because it just leaves some random tiles open left and right. It's a good house for the Pleasant family to move into after they've made some money and have a bit of budget to renovate, but other than that, I don't think I'm particularly interested in this house. On to number 6, it's 7 Sim Lane in Neighborhood 1. This is the first house that we encounter with a pre-made family, in this case the newbies. Don't get me wrong, this house is a classic, it's good, it's exactly what we want for the newbies, but if we look at the houses to come, I just couldn't place this any higher than I did already. Is it amazing? No, but it gives us exactly what we want. This is exactly what is necessary for Bob and Betty newbie. It has a small open kitchen living, it doesn't even have a sofa. It has a bathroom and a separate bedroom. Outside there is a small patio with a couple chairs and a fountain. This house looks kind of different in the regional varieties, and especially in Asia this looks slightly different. One thing to note is that this house does not feature a stove, so Betty and Bob live off of microwave meals, and it's a horrible place for comfort. Without a doubt, Bob and Betty will be complaining to you about their comfort because there's just no good place to sit or sleep. I do want to give a quick shout out to The Sims 2 for actually sneakily featuring this house in one of the pictures in the Broke household. Brandy Broke is Bob and Betty newbie's daughter, and in their family album you can find one of the pictures that features this house, which I thought neat little touch, I loved it. On to number 5, 2 Sim Lane in Neighborhood 1. This is the classic mansion that we all know and love and cheated our way into by spamming Rosebud in the cheats bar. I know that 5th place is not the highest, it's just that this house has slowly gone down my list because I've seen it a couple times and it has no furnishings and the inside is pretty bland. It's just the nostalgia that this house holds that keeps it up here. Just want to make a quick note on something that I think is really annoying. It's that these plants on this little pool island always die because your Sims can't reach them and thus not water them, and it eventually just becomes very ugly. This house has its place and it's important to me. It's just a little bit too bland to measure up to the houses that are still to come. Number 4, 10 Sim Lane in Neighborhood 1. I'm sure people are going to tell me that I ranked this way too high, but this was my go-to starter and I'm letting myself be led by nostalgia here. This is the perfect house for Chris and Melissa roomies from the family bin, and I would usually always start with Chris and Melissa roomies because they're just iconic and great. Just like the others, this house looks slightly different between different regions, mainly featuring the outside brick or siding as well as the roof colour. It has a carpeted room at the front, which practically can be nothing else than a living room, then an open kitchen and dining room at the back, a bedroom and one bathroom. Some of you might look at this house and say, well, it only has one bedroom, how is this house perfect for the roomies family? And to that I say, they were roommates. I just spent hours playing in this house, and I have many different versions of this being built into a mansion because I just love this place. It's at the water, like what else do you want? It's honestly one of the best lots in the entire game. And then we enter the top 3. Number 3 is 7 Sim Lane in Neighborhood 2. This is one of the living large houses that just, it speaks to my inner Tacky soul. It's fantastic. It's colourful, it's camp, it's got this wacky layout that I love. It has like one bedroom, some sort of massive bathroom, a massive kitchen, small living room, and then a tiled room in the middle, which I just use as a dining room because you don't really know what to do with it. Honestly, you can jumble all of these around if you want. This is a wacky house anyway. It has a pool, which is fantastic. One awful side note again, it has again a pool island that you can't reach and will eventually die and make this lot look very ugly. Nevertheless, this is one of my favorites. It's already perfectly set up for my favorite furnishing style, and that's why it deserves 3rd place. On to number 2, we have 5 Sim Lane, or the house of the Goth family. This house is the classic that we all know and love. It's a small Queen Anne Victorian style house with dark siding and dark windows. It's a 2-story house with a living room, separate kitchen, bathroom and Mortimer and Bella's bedroom at the ground floor, and on the 1st floor it's all just Cassandra's bedroom. This house is also the only house that doesn't really show variety between regions except for the shape of a couple gravestones. Speaking of gravestones, this house has a graveyard which is immediately plus 100. Like, why? This is fantastic. The Sims did not need to do that, but they went there and it just sets the mood for this entire house. This house, aside from Bob and Betty Newbies' house, is the only other house that's referenced in The Sims 2, also through the photo album of the Sims 2 Goth family. If this had been a list of only base game houses, this house would have definitely had number 1. However, we're also including living large, meaning that the number 1 spot is taken by 9 Sim Lane in Neighborhood 2, the house of the Mashuga family. I've already spent a chunk of my living large retro review on this house, but just a quick recap, this is an octagonal house with 4 rooms, it's pink on the outside, and the yard is filled with flamingos. I mean, do I even need to tell you why this is my favorite house? It's bright, it's colourful, it's weird, it's wacky, it has everything that I want from a house in The Sims and more. This house has the iconic love bed and has indoor furniture placed outside, which is always a big plus in my book. And as the home of my favourite family that The Sims ever created, I honestly don't understand how these never returned in any of the new franchises, but I'm really upset about it. Anyway, these were my rankings for all of these houses. Please let me know what you think about these houses and which one was your favourite, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye!